I've been receiving continuous messages from AAA students asking for guidance on how to answer AAA Section A question, that is the 50-mark question. And my dear friends, in this video, we are going to answer just that. And the special part about this video is we are going to use the data, the document that is given by the ACCA body only. So it is going to be 100% genuine and it is going to be 100% from the ACCA body itself. So my dear friends, let's quickly go to the video content. Now my dear friends, when we talk about Section A question, we all know that it is a 50-mark question. I expect you to understand this for sure, first of all, right? So it's a 50-mark question, out of which 40 marks is given for the direct questions and 10 marks are given for the professional skills paper. I'm talking to the AAA students only. AA students, you can wait for the video. Next video will come for you only, right? Now my dear friends, when we talk about the AAA paper, the first question, the Section A question is of 50 marks, out of which 40 marks is from the direct questions and 10 marks are for the professional skills, like we all know, right? Now let's go to point by point discussion. We are going to read the each pointer and I'm going to explain how you need to answer it. First of all, what we have already understood is that the question comes from the planning stage. You are required to evaluate either the audit risk or the business risk, plus some part of the question, that is a 10 or 20 marks question, could come from the related areas also, like ethics or other parts of the syllabus. Plus, we also understand that while answering these questions, you do not need to just answer what, but we also need to answer why. Now, my dear friends, I have already uploaded some of the question solving videos also on the same YouTube channel. You can go to the video section and you can watch those videos and practice the question itself. Just in case if you face any trouble, do let me know. I would be happy to help you with more question solving videos as well and more guidances as well. Now, my dear friends, let's come to the content here. So, first thing first, when we talk about the Section A question, we need to understand that it is a 50 marks question. It is a 50 marks question, right? Now, the question is always set at the planning stage. Like we have already discussed that the question is always set at the planning stage of the audit, right? Now the current date will always be 1st July 20 or 2025. We'll read it as that. Okay, it's X, as in it could be changed. Now my dear friends, this date is not very important for you. What is more important for you? You always need to go for the date. Do not assume that the date would be 1st July only. It could be a different date also. Please reread it in the question also, right? Now there will be significant proportion of the marks in respect of the identification and evaluation of risk. My dear friends, please note that I am not saying responding to the risk. Identification of the risk, evaluation of the risk, and in certain cases prioritization of the risk, right? I am not at all saying responding to the risk. That would be a separate question. Okay, so when I talk about this 50 marks question, the most part would be towards the identification and the evaluation of the risk. Evaluation needs what? Evaluation means here that the prioritization, how important is the risk, how technical is the risk. Okay, now on occasion it may be a combination of risk which the partner is asking for analysis on. So there might be certain questions where there would be a partner's email, which we have already seen in multiple questions. So there could be a partner's email and then you will need to respond to that. Now exhibit 1 will be the partner's email, which will outline the requirements and what will need to be addressed. So whenever you need to read the requirements, you always have to go for exhibit 1, which is the partner's email, and there generally the requirements would always be there. Okay, now stepping up from AA and AAA. So my dear friends, like we have already discussed in a separate video about what is the core differences between AA and AAA, but I'll just summarize them. In AA, we have already discussed that there are 3 levels of knowledge. In AA, we test 1 and 2, level 1 and level 2 knowledge, right? But when we come to AAA, we majorly test level 2 and level 3, which also includes the synthesis part, like we have already discussed. If you have not watched that particular video, go for the description section. I have already mentioned that video's link, or you can comment down also. I would be responding to you as well. Okay, now when I talk about stepping up from AA and AAA, let's have a quick read of this. Candidates will have addressed audit risk questions at AA, like we have already done if you have not claimed the exemption. And just in case if you have claimed the exemption also, I expect you to have the knowledge of it. Just in case if you are facing trouble because you have not appeared for AA, so what you can do is in the description box you will find my AA marathon also. Please go for that. You will be able to cover entire AA knowledge in 9 hours only. please go for that. Okay, now the same principles apply but require a broadened range of the risk, which include identification of risk of material misstatement and business risk also. In case of AA, we have majorly discussed about the audit risk of material misstatement, but we have not discussed about the business risk. The horizon is a little wider here. We also have to discuss about the business risk as well as some deeper audit risk also. Now, for more information on these type of risk, use the articles published on risk, that is the technical articles that we read as part of the AAA paper. Now, candidates will also require an additional depth of knowledge and demonstrate greater understanding of the financial reporting requirements. So generally, when we go for the AA paper, what I tell you is that generally the FA paper is tested, the accounting knowledge from the FA paper is tested, or some part of your FR might be tested, right? So that is why we generally say that you should appear for FR before AA. But when it comes to AAA, your FA knowledge, your FR knowledge, your SBR knowledge, and majorly FR and SBR knowledge could also be tested, or it could be related. You might have to give your answers with reference to that. So that is why it becomes a little more important for you. Okay. Now, without the relevant knowledge of financial reporting, it will be very difficult to explain the impact of the potential misstatements by incorrectly applying the relevant accounting standards. That is, if you do not know the accounting standards, it might be very difficult for you to analyze and evaluate the impact of the misstatement or the audit risk that you have just faced, right? Now, structure of the questions, what will be asked. Okay, when it says what will be asked, I would say, let's take the worst case scenario. Let's assume it as what may be asked. Okay, see, if you just read it as what will be asked, you might be thinking that nothing else could be asked. See, it's a professional body. New questions could always come up, new techniques could always come up. So instead of reading it as will, I would suggest you read it as may. This is a pure suggestion. I would say that you read it as may. That is, this may be asked. There are higher chances that this could be asked. Okay. So at least 20 marks. At least 20 marks will be attributable. 20 out of what? 20 out of 50, right? No, my dear friends. 20 out of 40, because 10 marks is for the professional skills, right? Now, out of 20 marks will be attributable to the identification, evaluation, or assessment of risk. Not responding. A lot of students make this mistake that even if it is not asked, they write the responses also. My dear friends, if it is asked to identify the risk, you only need to identify the risk, not respond to it. Okay. Now, the remaining 20 marks, that is 40 marks, out of 40 marks, 20 are covered here. Now, the next 20 marks, remember that there are 10 professional skills marks also after this 20 plus 20. So, there in those 20 marks, ethical and professional issues could be asked. Discussion of the actions or procedures to mitigate the risk already identified, that is the auditor's responses. Could be asked. Or there could be discussion of the auditor's responsibilities in respect of laws and regulations. Okay, so there could be fraud, money laundering, breach, okay, industry regulations, licensing arrangements. Okay, now other issues, for example, using data analytics could be there. Non-financial KPIs could be there, sustainability issues could be there, internal issues could be there, internal control issues could be there, internal audit issues could be there, audit outsourcing work issues could also be there, service organization issues could also be there, right? Now, this is not an exclusive list. Please note this. This is not an exclusive list. Like I always told you that there could be newer questions anytime, so you do not need to consider it as a will be asked list, but may be asked list. Okay. Now, approaching the exam. Okay, with the revisions to ISO 315, candidates will have seen requirements related to evaluation and prioritization. We have already discussed about how do you need to prioritize the risk. Okay, just in case if you face any trouble, do let me know in the comment section. Now, other types of questions may also be asked, which may use the same basic principle, like the significant risk, identification of types of risk, or evaluation of it, why the risks are considered as significant, because we have already discussed that you do not just need to write what, but also need to write why and provide the justification for it, right? And what can the audit team do to mitigate these risks, that is the auditor's responses also, that could also be asked. Now, assessment of risk style, so the question could be evaluation and prioritization of significant risk of material misstatement or audit risk, or in certain cases business risk also. But in case of business risk, prioritization might not be asked. Why? Because prioritization depends on the industry knowledge in case of business risk, and the AAA paper examiner does not want you to have the specific industry knowledge also. That is why risk could be asked, identification could be asked, in some cases evaluation could also be asked, but definitely the prioritization would not be asked. Okay, now evaluate and prioritize the risk of material misstatements. Justify why goodwill. See, why goodwill is recognized as a significant risk of material misstatement. Design the audit procedure to be performed on the valuation of goodwill. Audit procedure could also be asked, right? Now, justify why each of the following issues have been identified as significant risk. Say goodwill, say inventory, say non-current assets. These are very, very important. And evaluate the business risk to be considered in planning the group audit. See, never prioritization of business risk, never prioritization of business risk. Why so? Because examiner does not want you or does not expect from you to have the specific industry knowledge also. Okay, hope this is clear. Now justify means what? First of all, answer what, then why, that is what is the risk, why it is the risk, and implication, that is what could be the impact of this on the audit. And if it is asked, you have to respond with the auditor's responses also. Now finally, revise the knowledge, but ensure that there's plenty of question practice to get used to the style and type of questions where candidates are required to evaluate risk. They should remember what, why, implication, approach. That is, first of all, they need to answer what, then they need to answer why, and then they also need to answer the implication as part of their main answer. With this, I have completed the discussion of how you need to approach the section A question in case of AAA. Now, my dear friends, if you are a AA or AAA student and if you have any queries, please feel free to post it in the comment section. Also, I am mentioning certain important links, including the WhatsApp group link, including the links of the relevant videos also. Just in case if you face any trouble, please feel free to let me know in the comment section and I would be happy to answer it for you. All the very best for your examination. Do let me know how your examination goes, and just in case if you face any trouble, do feel free to let me know. All the very best. See you in the next video.